I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come
We've got
easy.
Reneem from Peak Pro Wrestling and, of course, the Don from Explosive School of Pro Wrestling. I got that right this time, Don.
Got it. You're onto it, man. I love it.
Yep. Welcome to the both of you. Two of my favorite promoters in Australia because Reneem going weekly and Don, of course, bringing the new stars into Perth. But we've got them here because they've both done, well, an odd arrangement of cooperating with another Fed, with Reneem doing a co-op show, is that fair to say, with Deathmatch Down Under and Peak last week?
Fully collaborated with Deathmatch Down Under on that one.
As a collaboration. And Don, would it be fair to say you and the company you work for have gone so far as to buy another Fed in Perth or another company in Perth? Mm-hmm. From what I understand, was to sort of take control of the training and get another ring into your stable, keep another ring out of Western Australia.
You might very, very close. It actually, really interestingly, and a lot of people probably don't know this. If you're in Perth, you might, but you might not. EPW bought SHWA, and not long before that, SHWA had bought AAW. So SHWA had bought AIW. They started to bring their guys in. There wasn't a good collaboration there. Some of the guys stayed and some of them just failed completely. Like whatever happened there, I'm not 100% privy to. But then once they'd enveloped AAW, EPW, I'm trying to remember, it was somewhere around just before COVID. I think the owner, he was actually just looking to move on, and EPW offered to purchase it, and he said yes.
Just for context, when you say SHWA, is that still Jared Slate and Mike Massive as the owners, or?
No. So the owner was Tom Ledbetter. He was he actually came from New Horizon Pro Wrestling. That's where he came up. He was in a team called the Perth Canines, and he was a bit older. So he came in and he was a businessman. Like at the end of the day, he ran his own business. And then took that knowledge to SHWA, and he became part of those guys, and then he was in control and owned the ring. And then by the time EPW had bought SHWA, they then essentially bought like 3/4 of Perth wrestling, which again,
AIW was Andrew Carter, the STW promoter.
Yeah, he now owns STW, but he had sold up at the time. I think he was sort of looking to do more stuff. He'd done his stuff in the States. I think he was doing more stuff in Southeast Asia, and was just kind of looking to work on himself rather than promoting. Then that, I think, again, not knowing the intricate details, that didn't go as well as everyone had planned. And then they kind of didn't quit wrestling, but I think that's about the time, I think, a lot of those guys had sort of faded into the distance. Then EPW bought SHWA, and I think there was an intention to basically control the amount of rings in Perth. But at the end of the day, the idea was those guys come in, they join in with the training, they get themselves increase their abilities, basically working with different people, working with people they'd never worked with before, or working with people that had more experience, because that's the one thing EPW had over most companies is a lot of experience. And then the few guys that were actually good stayed, kept working, trained, and the guys who just wanted to phone it in and just hang out with their mates, they quickly sort of faded off into the distance. Well, they didn't fade off into the distance. They complained that they were getting not getting booked, and they were basically given their thing is like, hey man, if you rock up, if you show up, if you train, we're not expecting you to all of a sudden, you couldn't do backflips before, you can do them now. It's just work on your craft and hone your skills. The opportunity's there. Come down, work on it, and you can be booked. They just decided not too hard.
Adam Crew has an interesting philosophy. When someone bitches to him about wanting to be on the card, he pulls out the cards and said, please tell me who you want to replace.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. Yeah.
On this card.
Yep.
And then I want to pull that person in front of you, and I want to hear you explain that to justify that to that person.
That's
and I'm
awesome.
Like, that's an interesting way to do it. You know what I mean?
Like it's rough as guts, but man, and then if they say I'm better than that guy, the guy comes in, I'm better than you.
All right, show him. You know, let's go run the international. I want you both in training. I want to see you smoke him, and you're not gonna. You know, like it's It's interesting you mentioned like the controlling of the rings. I was at Snake Pit in the 2010s, and Johnny Radic had purchased about 6 rings just to stop other promotions from popping up. So you see in Melbourne now, everyone's got access to rings. Any idiot could start a wrestling promotion, just like I did. I have my own ring. That's neither here nor there. But back then, it's like, oh, you're either renting a ring from RCW, you're renting a ring from Rampage, or you're renting a ring from me. And none of us are going to rent you these fucking rings. And if any of them popped up, he just bought them and shelved them.
Yeah.
Like there were whole rings that weren't set up for years just because he just wanted to stick them in a shed and not make them available to anyone else.
Yeah. And then if his breaks, he's got a spare. Fuck it.
And he always had spare parts.
Yeah. My philosophy on that sort of thing is if you could collect those rings, that'd be great if you wanted to do any kind of touring. You just store one in the area that's not close. You know, anything that's like the cost to transport it up there, it's cheaper just to hire a storage unit. You know what I mean? Stash it in there. If you're up there every now, like consistently through the year, you can just bang that out, set it up. I think that's, if you could manage that, I think that could be very helpful if you want to do some touring stuff.
I'm personally looking at purchasing a ring in Adelaide and storing it there just in case. Maybe we do like 1 or 2 shows a year, or maybe I just rent it out to people locally that want to run shows there. I had the same thought. I'm like, it'd be lucrative just to have it here. You know what I mean? Just in case. Yeah. Even though we have access to Johnny will rent us his ring, RCW will rent us their ring, MXW is only 3-4 hours away. They'll rent us their ring. You know, like when we have no shortage of rings, but it's still good. It's still nice to have the option.
It's funny though that there's that much collaboration. Like you're saying about you guys work with DMDU and there's a collaboration there and you guys can sort that out. There's actually probably when you were early in wrestling, you would have seen a lot of people were like, nope, you work over there, you work over there. There's no chance that we're going to work together because you're not stealing my business. I'm not stealing, you know, I'll take your business from over here, but we're not working together so that you can take my business from over there. Like,
when I broke in, I started with PCW, and there was no way I was ever going to work a PWA show after that.
Yeah.
You know, and same thing when I was at Snake Pit. Like I was at Snake Pit, there's no way, there was no chance I was ever going to do a Wrestle Rampage or RCW show. Zero.
Yeah, but now, Rampage, Riot, Adelaide, they're just everyone's wherever. You know what I mean? Like, and it's all chill. Like
Melbourne, multiple.
RCW's training facility. ACW and RCW are basically the same promotion now.
Yep.
You know, like there's a lot of collaboration happening under the hood. You know what I mean? People,
that's great.
I mean, it's not like back in the day. Everyone is working together. Even here, even if we're not directly collaborating on shows like Peak Pro Wrestling and DMDU did, I still work with Adrenaline Pro Wrestling. Like I still work with, you know, Malice Wrestling Federation and stuff in different ways, in different capacities and stuff. Maybe not collaborating, but it might be something as simple as, hey man, let's go in on public liability insurance. I had this chat the other day with the Malice promoters, like, hey, let's just get a policy together. It'll be easier, it'll be cheaper. Yeah, like shit like that.
That's great. I mean, the for years you just would never see anyone wrestle anywhere else in Perth.
Yeah.
But then I couldn't even remember the year, but there was a time when a few people, like I was able to work EPW SHWA and NHPW, and the only one I hadn't worked and never really worked was AAW. It was, in my mind, it was too far, and if they weren't asking me, I wasn't going to approach, which is the wrong. If anyone ever thinks that that's the right way to think about it, that's incorrect. You need to approach if you want to work somewhere. I started working at NH because Chris Weiss was working there. He had a tag team match and his partner was able to make it. And he goes, hey man, do you want to? And I was like, yeah, sweet, I'll do it. And that just lucked into that. But even that at the time wasn't frowned on because I had been around for a while. But had I been in my early days, there would have been people who would have segregated me and been like, no, that guy, fuck that guy.
Rookies especially were expected to stay extremely loyal. Like even just going to other promotion shows was extremely frowned upon as a rookie. Which is crazy to think about because we encourage guys like, oh, go to all the shows and help. Even if you're not part of their gym, even if you're not booked or whatever, show some face. Whereas back in the day, it was like, don't you fucking dare go there.
Yeah. You can't help them if you're helping us. But the best thing about that is as well, the more people do that, the more FaceTime they have with either promoters or just other talent, and you never know how that can connect somewhere else. Like even guys like Hayden at the moment, he's just having a holiday in Japan, ran into Robbie Eagles, and they're hanging out. You know what I mean? Harry, who's a trainee here, he went to Japan as well. They're hanging out, like, and you had there not been that kind of collaboration over the years, there would be a brick wall there. You wouldn't be able to catch up with that guy because you'd never seen him before. And it helps everyone by everyone being kind of chill.
Kind of chill. It's starting to get very competitive in Melbourne. I was looking at, this is the first time I've seen everyone announce like all their dates from the start of the year, because it's like a lot of clashes last year. We had a lot of arguments with talent, like, hey, are you here or are you there, cunt? Even though I booked you first or whatever. I had a few talents that, you know, I booked them for shows, but they're like, hey man, this other promotion just announced a show and they want us for it. And I'm just like, oh, little dog, bro. It's a little dog. You're very lucky. We're good friends, and I'm not going to be a dog to you. But please remember how I wasn't a dog to you. And I would tell them that. Please remember how I wasn't a dog to you. Yeah. And they being good. A lot of those guys, I still booked them now.
And well, that's the good thing as well. Like you understand that well, fuck, you know, this is maybe an opportunity.
Right, if Renegades hits you up to go wrestle in front of 400 or 500 people, and you've got to, you know, choose between that and wrestling in front of 50 people in a warehouse in Brunswick, like, I really don't blame you.
That's what I say. It's all about getting the shirts sold and your merchandise sold. So
where are you going to get the best opportunity to you know, make the most fans and become more famous and get better bookings and blah 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 blah? Like, obviously, we're just a launching off point. One day we hope to be as big. We're not quite there yet. So if these bigger places hit you up, I'm not going to sit here and go fucking boo-hoo, I booked you first. Yeah, that's just silly. That's just stupid. These guys are my friends as well. I want to see them do well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's it. And that's what you just said there is the key proponent of it. You're not like, I need my thing to do well. So, hey, man, I want you to do well. If that opportunity is going to do it for you, fucking go for it. But when I need
There's unlimited hungry wrestlers. I'm not going to sit here and cry about losing one when there's another 20 chomping at the bit.
But also, you're doing well for yourself. If you weren't in a position where you weren't doing as well for yourself, would it sort of eat away at you a bit that people were, or you still think you find heaps of hungry wrestlers? As you say, there's lots of hungry wrestlers.
Look, there are people that are apprehensive, whether it be, you know, doing in sort of a loose, unprofessional environment, or whether it be people that don't like that we're involved with the deathmatch scene and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? To each their own. I'm not going to sit here and complain, but I have 35 workers on our next card, and there's another 10 that I want to somehow fit. Put it that way.
That's a fucking packed locker room, man.
Yeah, that's huge. That's large.
Yeah. But it's like, yo, like, I want to get all these guys on. I want to get all these guys on the show. I want them to be part of the stories. I want them, you know, I don't want to have 4 matches like fucking MCW, where it's like, 4 Melbourne wrestlers get to wrestle in front of this really big crowd. So, and then the rest of it is basically PWA Sydney's roster. It's like, is this Melbourne City wrestling, or is this fucking Australian wrestling super show showcase of 4 fucking matches? Like, I'm not going to complain. It's their show. They're doing well. Like, I'm not criticizing. It's obviously what they're doing is working, but I'm like, what the fuck are you doing for our scene? You know, like, we're all avoiding your dates, and we're all coming to your shows and helping with production and ring crew and this and that. And then you don't even book anyone. Yeah. And if you do, it's some shitty fucking battle royal or whatever.
Yeah. But in saying that, you know, you hopefully that one step in gets more for those guys. Like I met Jahari last time we had the pod, and then next minute I saw him. He's from working with you guys. He's just blasted off from there, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah. I think they would have done more with him had he not been injured.
Unfortunately got injured.
We want to him too. It happens, man. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I know 100%, but it still hurts.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like, I know that feeling. Like I'm hurt. Like
they brought the physicals in, and they're using them on the main cards and stuff now, which is good.
That's it.
Which I thought is cool. Like, they brought someone in, you know, from the start, from like a battle royal, and now they're on like a main card match, part of storylines and stuff like that. I'm like, great. It did take a year, mind you. It did take a year.
That's like the same from our end in Perth. Like, Lucas Fantasia is on just about every MCW show lately, and he's worked hard for it. It's not like he's been gifted that. He's a great kid, and he's working his ass off. And again, from a position of being a smaller guy who may have been overlooked a lot of the time, but he brings something else and had a huge storyline through like a whole year of MCW, and that's cool. They are making it a bit more like all of Australia.
Yeah. Look, for me as well, I look at a lot of the people on. I don't mean to sit here and rag on MCW. There's nothing wrong.
No. We're just.
I'm using them as the example because they're the big example, right?
Yes.
I look at our roster of guys. So, for example, if I go to Sam Skittles Huxley and I say, "Hey, man, would you be free to work this really big show in Sydney?" He'd turn around to me and he'd say, "No, bro. We're working here once a week, twice a week. I don't have time to go interstate."
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Most of our roster doesn't work interstate, not because they can't get the bookings, but it's because they have a full calendar here. So I look at Shay Cassidy and I look at Lucas Fantasia, etc., and I go, wow, what a shame. You guys are such amazing wrestlers, but you can't even get, regular work in your home states.
Yeah.
I mean, they're big names, so they're getting booked and they're getting brought in and everything like that. And they probably had something on that weekend, but they probably didn't.
But in saying that, there's not enough work here.
There's nothing. Yeah.
There's like,
also in Sydney because it's so insulated, everyone hates each other.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's how I know the dynamics of. Yeah.
We work everywhere. Like someone was telling me, it's like, oh man, that Skittles kid is really good. I hope other places book him. Like, what are you talking about? He works everywhere. He works for Alpha. He works for Adrenaline. He works for Malice. He works for MXW. He's turning down dates.
Yeah.
He has no shortage of bookings, no shortage of opportunities. So when people turn around and say, oh man, I'd really like to see him here, I'd really like to see him there, I'm like, he's everywhere.
Yeah.
We're all everywhere. We work so hard.
Yeah.
If you come to any random show, you will see us.
Yeah, just everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got the highest amount of companies in the country in Melbourne as well. So wow. Sorry, no, you're right.
Wrestling rings, brother. There's 4 wrestling rings. So I don't know what these companies are.
Yeah. When we did that, Scar would be all over this.
Well, there's about 12 various different.
There's like 18. There's like
18 companies. There's a couple new ones started up as well. So
shout out to Dominion, shout out to SHWA at Dominion. They had a successful show on Monday at Coffee Joint in Mornington.
There you go.
Yeah.
So as you can see,
all over the place, which is great. Like I'm not knocking that. Like you say you've got the 4 rings, you've got all these different promotions. It's fantastic. I wish there was more of that in Perth.
Well, here's the thing. Here's something that one of my friends brought up, and bringing it back to the collaboration thing. We did comedy and deathmatch. So DMDU, their niche is deathmatch, obviously. Lots of glass, lots of blood, lots of weird fuckery. And our thing is comedy, which also usually involves a little bit of hardcore in some sort of comedy element. For example, Harper Sky versus Magnus Colbeck interdimensional weapons match, which was just an excuse to have a funny hardcore match. We did War in the Warehouse and stuff like that. So we do kind of tame but crazy stunt hardcore. And when we brought that together, it was flames. It was crazy. It had the comedy and all the deathmatch aspect, etc. The point I'm trying to make is like we've got a niche. We stand out because we've got a niche. DMDU very clearly stands out because they've got a niche. We've got 14 or 15 other companies that are just teaming Monday Night Raw. Hey. It's just teaming Monday Night Raw. There's just boring wrestling with nothing really happening. I hate you, you hate me. I want your belt. You know what I mean? There's no real presentation. You're either the heavy metal guy or the punk guy or the fitness guy. There's no in between. TJ Wild is the only heavy metal fit guy. Shout out TJ Wild, amazing physical transformation from your mate Body Biz.
Yeah. Scars, mate. Yeah.
Scars, mate. Right. Scars on that shit too.
Yep. Definitely on the Body Biz. So yeah. But more about the collaborations. So how did that turn out in the end for you both?
It was both of our biggest crowds. It was his biggest crowd in a while. Obviously, he's done way bigger crowds in the past, but with all the controversy and stuff that came up, his fan base dwindled off a little bit, and he needed to build it up. Thankfully, they have a really good venue there at Dayton Brewery. It was packed. We were scared we might have to turn people away. Thankfully, it wasn't. Not thankfully for me. But,
opened up a side window and everyone was outside.
Where you could just tell people, sorry, you should have booked tickets early. Get out.
No, I think it. In Joel's mind, he was going to squeeze them in wherever.
Yeah.
That's in Joel's mind. And I kept telling him, like, maybe we should set a cap.
Yeah.
Like, no cap. You know, just see how many people come. Luckily, we were just at capacity, thankfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still great.
It was hard to get through the crowd, like, you know.
Yeah, it was really hard to get through there. We only put like 30 chairs out, and then it was all standing.
Yeah.
Collaborating with Joel is really easy because I've known Joel since we were both 15 or 16 years old, and he knows what I can do, and I know what he can do, and I just like, all right, I'll do the graphics and stuff. I'll book a card. You go over it, see if you like it, and it was just, you know, back and forth, real friendly, like, and then it just got done. You know, because we just kept on top of each other. In fact, it was probably the easiest show that I think I've ever promoted, just because I had someone to kick my ass and say, "Hey, have you done this?" You know what I mean?
Get it done, got done, and good outcome for everyone.
But Joel's very much the same. If you don't kick his ass, nothing else gets done either. So we were very good together.
Shout out to Baitman.
Shout out to Baitman. All y'all that are shit talking Baitman, y'all are about to see him go on a tear in regular wrestling matches, and you're gonna remember that this dude is probably the best wrestler in the country. Like, on the mat.
Okay.
Damian Slater, watch out, man! He's about to make you look like a fool.
Oof.
Big call, man. Big call.
And
I love Slater. I love his reels. I love watching his fucking reels, man.
Yeah.
Well, Don, speaking of Slater and EPW, let's hear about your conclusion buying SHWA and how you ran the invasion angle, and see if Raneem has any points for you.
So the hardest thing is like the guys when you go to collaboration on that end, you've got that you come in for this one thing and then you can sort of part ways and then come back again. Whereas buying a company, it's very much like, you know, kind of fall in line or fall to the wayside. And
culture, isn't it? It's a new culture. You come from somewhere else, and it's like, if you can't fit into the culture, then
100%. And a few guys, the guys who actually, you know, were quite good at it and pushed, they stayed around. You know, depending on like injuries, I think some people were like pretty much fucked, so they had to go anyway. But the guys that stuck the thing, they lasted and they stayed, but the number dwindled from what they came in with to what they ended up with. So the invasion angle itself was a little harder. It ended up pretty much just being the pulse. Okay. And those guys are unkillable. Like, they'll never stop unless, I don't know. I feel like Slate's unbreakable.
Slate is unbreakable. Slate is actually unbreakable.
So like, he was gonna be there forever, no matter what. And Felix, I don't know if you ever had a conversation with Felix, but his mind for wrestling is just next level.
I met him for the first time at Tag Team Dream last year. I mean, it's always a pleasure to see Slade, but meeting Felix for the first time, I'm like, wow, this kid really has a mind, man.
Yeah. And it's crazy. He just worked with him on the regular at training at EPW, and he's a massive asset. And really, the invasion came down to pretty much those two guys. And then they went from entering. They got the big stadium entrance down through the crowd, down the stairs, came and wrestled, Mike and Dave. So it was like, their best versus really our best.
Yeah.
I think it came out, but not in the way that people would want an invasion angle to come out. But that's just strictly because people gave up.
Did SHWA's fans actually come? Because I'm thinking, like, for an invasion angle, I remember the ROH versus CZW feud, and what made it interesting was that the majority of the shows where the actual feud happened were double promoted shows. CZW would run a show in the afternoon, and then ROH would be in the same building at night, and both of their fans were there. So the blow up for Cage of Death, I think it was Death Before Dishonor 2006. You have the CZW crowd section on one side and the ROH section on the other. And I'm like, yo, if you're doing an invasion type event, a versus type event, and you don't have the SHWA section and the EPW section, you guys are fucked up.
To a degree, we kind of did, because we kept them running the shows. Like SHWA had their shows, and then EPW had their shows. And there was a collection of people. But the thing with Perth is pretty much everyone, if you're a fan of wrestling, you go to everything.
Same fans. And this is where we didn't do peak versus DMDU. We did peak ex DMDU because it's the same fans and it's the same workers.
yeah. I mean, there was obviously some people who were very much staunch supporters of SHWA, and some of them because at the end of the day, they only ever came to SHWA because that was what they came for. While they stayed for a while, they sort of just phased off because at the end of the day, as the guys from SHWA were dropping off, they were replaced with guys from EPW. So the concept of SHWA had changed.
Yeah, the culture and the vibe of the promotion was probably too different for what the fans that they initially drew liked.
Yes, EPW light.
Essentially, because they had to be refilled. You know what I mean? Like those spots had to be filled. We had trainees, and we would try and use guys who had not been seen on EPW as that. But then there's like a level, and this is probably might get me some heat, but there are people who think they're fucking amazing because they've done a few weeks of training, and you give them a short match and they crack the shits, or they get squashed by some guy who's been around for a while and they crack the shits, or they come backstage and expect you to be like, oh my god, the greatest thing ever, but they botch so much shit, and you just like get back to training. You're not booked on the next one. And a lot of people, there was quite a few people who never actually transitioned to SHWA to EPW SHWA. Like as soon as the company sold, they came to training a little bit and went, nah, fuck this, I'm out. So the core, once that transition happened, the core group of guys wasn't the same. You had Slate, Eli, Axton, one guy who I wish we still had, and my brain has just stopped and I can't remember his name. Big Dave. What was his gimmick name? This just jacked up guy, Dave. He's back went out on him, and he sort of went, and that's another challenge we had as well is whether it's seen that way to the rest of the country, which I think it might be. The EPW is sort of seen more of like a slightly more serious wrestling, like, you know, wrestle.
You guys have your niche, they have theirs, and when it started to become more of your niche, their fans just said, no, we could just go to EPW if we wanted this, and they were, by the sounds of it, already going to EPW. So it's like it was like they appreciated the good wrestling, they appreciated the good presentation at EPW, but then they came up to Rockhampton for I believe it was Rockhampton, wasn't it?
No, they were in Maddington, not Maddington.
Anyway. And then they would go there for something a little bit different, a little bit grittier, a little bit, and maybe it wasn't the whole EPW crowd who went, obviously, but that small subset, they wanted something a little bit different, went. And when it stopped being, it stopped having that grit and it stopped having that vibe, it was like, well, if I want to watch EPW, I can just go to EPW.
Yeah. And
this is what I mean by if you've got 18 companies, what's your niche?
Yeah.
What is your niche? What differentiates you? You just, as Don's just explained, if you're EPW and you become an EPW clone, your business will die.
Yes.
In Melbourne, we have 1,000 MCW clones, or what have you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they're not getting as popular as MCW, 100%.
They're fighting over crowds of like 100, 200 people. And bro, they're counting like double-digit numbers. Oh yeah, we got 80 this time. Like what are we talking about here?
A boom period.
Yeah.
We never had a show that had more than 80 people on it until last Thursday. So I was just like, oh yeah, triple digits. Let's go.
Yeah.
And look, that's like we run the school shows, and anything over 50 people is a bonus for us because it's just our guys getting reps. Put on a halfway decent production for a tiny little warehouse for our training facility, but just anyone who wants to come and watch it and it gets the guys amped, it's great. You know what I mean? It's never going to be 1,000 people in that, but anything over 50 people, we're doing great.
Great. You'll have a great show. Everyone will have fun. Everyone will get drunk. The girls will come to hang out, man. It's a good vibe. I think it's a better vibe than arena wrestling. I think it's more fun. I think it's way more fun to do a show in front of 50 people in a warehouse than it is to hang out at some hall with 400 real sweaty, smelly fucking marks. Pardon my language.
No, it's cool. We've gone over that a lot on this channel. Hey, everyone needs to
No,
watch.
but you know what I mean? I'd rather have a small, intimate audience of like, you know, not necessarily high value people, but people that like to spend money and like to drink and like to, they're basically like a little nightclub, rather than a big wrestling show where, yeah, the wrestling was good.
Yeah.
But we were stressing and panicking all day because production this and this, that, and putting out fires, and probably made about the same amount of money in the end anyway, because you have to pay for the venue and the lights and the this and the that.
Yeah.
You know, works out to roughly the same. When I was running shows for my venue, even with 50 people with the bar, like we were usually making more money than when we left, when we'd done a show at some big venue in front of 200 people.
Yeah.
The economics just work out better.
Yeah, because as you scale up, the costs go massive.
That's
like
right.
It's not a small jump.
You don't scale your profits with it.
Yeah, it's a small jump in fans, but it's a large jump in cost.
Yeah. I think you guys should run more shows there.
I'm trying to, dude. I'm not going to get started on that conversation because
there's another podcast.
I'm going to call you out live in front of the world, Don. I want to run a peak pro wrestling show from the EPW, from the Extreme School of Pro Wrestling.
You're all like, that'll never happen.
Look, I don't make those
decisions. X-Peak Pro Wrestling.
X-Peak. Look, I don't make those decisions, but I can make some inquiries.
What?
I don't run the school. I just run the shows. But yeah, there's some paperwork's got to be filled out and some I's and some T's. I'm not saying no. I'm not guaranteeing a yes.
Didn't you just disparage Slater earlier?
It's in the air.
I did.
It's not going to happen.
That's right. He needs to confront me. He needs to confront me now.
Oh yeah, no, that's it.
Damian Slater, I'm showing up to your gym, brother.
Oh God.
Roster. Sid Parker's gonna whip your ass. There we go. We've already.
Whoa, hey, no throwing out Sid Parker. Okay, come on, man.
Bro, you're gonna
get
man.
Me and Sid are cool.
Assuming Slater takes the booking.
This has gone to pot. I think we'll end it here. But it was good to hear both your perspectives on what co-promoting can produce and some of the trials and tribulations and some of the good and bad points, but mostly good points by the sounds of it have come out of it. Well,
it's positive to work together and to not try to hinder other people. There's more than enough for everybody to eat.
Yes.
More than enough. We have not scratched. There are 500,000 people watch Monday Night Raw in Melbourne. There's 6 million people. We get 2,000 fans a month. We have not even begun to scratch the surface. We could have another 20 companies and still be extremely healthy.
Yes.
Get it up to 100 companies in Australia. Well, well, thanks, Raheem. And, of course, thank you, Don. Raheem, we'll see you next time we see you. And, Don, we'll see you back in the studio.
Friday, Feb 13, the Rocco Horror Picture Show at Evie's Disco Diner in Fitzroy. Scar will be there. Scar will be performing.
I will be there.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming, bro.